What it do, guys? Manjoume here with another installment of my Will It Do series of videos where we take an older or niche piece of tech, incorporate it into my life for about a week, and I give you guys my findings. Today's piece comes to us from 2011, and whose older brother by months is the Galaxy S3, the Samsung Focus S. Form factor is a little bigger and weighing at 110.6 grams or 3.88 ounces. It's a little lighter than the S3's 116 grams. It's got a likewise screen of 4.3 inches at a resolution of 480 by 800 pixels with a 217 ppi pixel density. This thing is light, but to me it feels a little too light and small for comfort. The resolution in terms of apps and UI is fine considering the use of tiles, but watching video suffers greatly because things just aren't clear. More on that later. What sets this phone apart is its OS, which is Microsoft Windows Phone 7.5 Mango. The home screen is full of vertical tiles, which are easy to press and free to customize. You can pick a light or dark setting and color theme. I went with a dark setting with blue tiles. To me, this felt like the right one for a Windows Phone. The All page is a long screen with the ability to scroll through everything or just go by letters. The OS cannot be upgraded to Windows 8 or 10. All Windows Phone 7 devices go up to 7.8 if the carrier or company that made the phone made the update, but are cut off right there. Mine is a 16 gig model with no expansion slots. I didn't run out of room, but if I were to really settle in and get more apps, I'd really suggest getting the 32 gig model. It has 512 megabytes of RAM and runs at 1.4 gigahertz, which is really shy of the 2 to 3 gigs you see nowadays. But Windows Phone 7.5 utilizes it so well you don't really feel like you have less than a gig of RAM when coupled with that CPU speed in more specific OS. Android, being so open, leaves many more variables that the creators simply cannot account for, which is why iPhones run so well. Apple knows their OS and owns the hardware, so it's a perfect marriage, leaving you with a near constant smooth performance. The 8 megapixel rear camera is equal to the S2 and takes alright pictures. Cameras have improved since then, but this isn't a terrible one. I like how the shutter key starts the app right away, and you can even take a picture while the phone is in standby and the screen is off. The video camera only goes up to 720p, which in a day where phones are pushing 4K means you aren't pushing any boundaries. The front-facing 1.3 megapixel camera is rubbish and certainly can't convey your beauty. The phone sports a removable 1650 milliamp battery with a supposed 250 hour standby time and 6.5 hour talk time. In real life with sporadic use, some videos, Facebook, Googling, eBay, and otherwise, I was able to get an average of 10 plus hours. Not bad. This phone has Wi-Fi, Bluetooth version 3, and GPS. Connecting to Wi-Fi is pretty simple and effective. I was able to connect my running Bluetooth headphones with ease, though not through NFC since it just isn't there. Using the Runtastic app, I see that the GPS works and it helps in calculating and monitoring my runs. The FM radio works as you'd expect, headphones act as antenna. Music and other media works fine. The built-in podcast function is wonderful and searching for podcasts was a breeze. I was able to find the Best Friend Cast, the Cracked Podcast, and Kevin Smith podcast and enjoy them all. No headaches. However, the same cannot be said of other content. Unlike an Android phone where you can just drag and drop media like music onto your device, you have to install and use Zune software to transfer such media. After the pain of having to install a specific program, content managing was actually pretty easy. I've used the software before when I had a Zune HD and I do actually like it, but the fact that it is required is a bummer. One thing to note is that some songs that did in fact have information on them, they said they didn't, but on Media Go, it looked fine. Apps are definitely where you see the limitations of the OS. The YouTube app is just the mobile page, which itself is okay. You can adjust the quality, but it technically does work. Lazy, but at least you get to use YouTube. The apps that are there work well, but not great. Facebook is very slow to load, but if you have patience, it does get the job done. There's a Netflix app, Crackle, Twitter, a third-party Tumblr viewer. Some apps not seen in the store for 7.5 are Hulu, Spotify for free users, PlayStation app, Gmail, Google Docs, WWE Network, WrestleMania, and Twitch, to name a few. Those few are very important to me and are right there deal breakers. There are more high-end games like Earthworm Jim, Kinectimals, Sonic 4 Episode 1, but there's also those cheap, terrible games that aren't worth your time. While this is definitely the case for Android, you tend to feel it more since the overall selection is so much smaller. The selection here is nothing compared to Android or iOS. There is an Xbox app built in where you can message people and use their ecosystem. You can even edit your avatar, though it doesn't have Xbox Smart Glass, so there's no actual interaction between consoles. Pretty bare bones, but messaging people is a huge plus. One pretty big issue I had that was about a week into using the phone, I was no longer able to download new apps. I'd get the message, set up account, which I'd done successfully prior to that, but it kept giving me that message. This is usually followed up with, can't set up your account, telling me to try again, and thus far with no good results. At the end of the day, will it do? No. While the phone aspects work just as well as any other phone and acts as a decent media player once you do transfer stuff over using Zune, the smartphone aspects are just too lacking. The dearth of important apps like Hulu and Twitch and many others, and lack of continued support, along with the error message of me not being able to download new apps, some of which I don't have yet and couldn't possibly get, leaves me with a phone that just isn't very smart. Maybe a Windows Phone 8 or 10 device would have better apps, but that's